I just don't have any ideas for this horror movie I'm writing.
Well, what's the problem, man? I might be able to help. I am a, a horror connoisseur, after all.
Well, you see, I'm struggling with the villain. I feel like everything's already been done before.
Oof, yeah, that is a tough one. And you certainly don't want to be too derivative.
Exactly.
Oh, what if they were actually evil because they had multiple personalities?
You mean if they had some horribly inaccurate and harmful stereotype of DID?
Well, when you put it like that, it's just.
That's perfect! And better yet, it's never been done before.
Hey, who are you talking to?
Just, talking to myself. So a little while ago, I discovered the concept of the horror movie bargain bin DVD pack, which is a lot to say, but it's basically just they make a pack of DVDs where there's like anywhere from like 4 to 8 horror movies jammed into this one little pack. And I said I must get me some of those so that I can review them. And they're actually right up here behind me. So I'm going to pick one at random, and then I'm going to have a wheel randomly decide 3 of those movies that I will be watching and reviewing. All right, what have I got here? I have the Midnight Horror 8 movie pack. Now I'm going to put these on a wheel and have that decide which ones I'm going to watch. All right, we're going to find the first movie that I will be watching. What will it be? I don't know anything about these, and it looks like the first one is going to be... Room 33. Our second is going to be... The suspense is killing me. Oh, it's looking like it's going to be... Secrets of the Clown. And then last, but certainly not least, well, it actually might be because I don't know these yet. Oh, looks like we're going for 213. So yeah, I guess we're going to be watching Room 33, Secrets of the Clown, and 213. Whatever the fuck that means.
Is it room 33?
We gotta go now.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back. I have gone and watched all of the movies, so it's time to talk about them. Starting, of course, with Room 33 from 2009. Okay, so just off the bat, this definitely feels like a bargain bin horror movie, by which I mean, it's not that great. I could even say it's a little bit bad, probably, but... it wasn't the worst thing I watched for this video, so, you know, that's a good start. The idea with this one is it's a group of roller derby girls and their coach and tech guy, camera guy. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. He's a pervert. But either way, it's this group of people that are trying to get to some place that they have a roller derby competition at, and they're driving in their van, like Texas Chainsaw style, which I imagine had to be the influence for this setup. And they come across a car that is broken down and on the side of the road. Well, rather they crashed. It is broken down, but they crashed, and that's why it's broken down. From this car, there's another guy whose name is Chad, which is the only character's name that I remember because it's funny because it's Chad and he kind of is a Chad. And his girlfriend? Yeah, they're like taking a break or something. Couldn't really explain that relationship to you. The van people, the roller derby girls, agree to help them. So they're like, yeah, we're headed to town. We'll take you to the next town or whatever. Then at the end of the road, it's closed off and it's like, road closed. And then because they're fucking stupid, they decide to check it out. And it's like an old asylum, basically, that is abandoned and no longer running. The titular Room 33 does not happen or it doesn't even get mentioned until there's like 25 minutes remaining in the movie, and then you don't actually see room 33 until there's like 20 minutes remaining in the movie, and then it doesn't even actually end up being that important. And they also find this girl, rather the girl finds them, I guess. She has cuts and bruises all over her. She eventually says that her name is Roxy, but she's like, he killed them all, and they're like, who did they kill? Well, actually that's not true. In order to explain this, there was a girl at the beginning of the movie that I thought I was going to like. She's like the blonde one. I thought I was going to like her because she was the only one that pushed back against pervert guy being a pervert. And so I was like, oh, okay, so you're going to be that character, and you're probably going to end up being the final girl, and I'm going to like you. No, she ends up being the most needlessly aggressive piece of shit ever. There's a part where they hear a noise off in the distance, and the girl that they picked up from the car crash is like, oh, it's probably a moose. And the this blonde girl is like, a moose? Maybe it's an elk. And the girl's just like, well, actually elk aren't really native here, but I mean, it's probably some sort of wildlife, so yeah. And then the blonde girl's like, you fucking wretch, dude, I'm gonna make it my personal goal to fuck with you all night. And then she continues to be upset at this girl because she knew what animals were, and she went to college for a couple of years. I can't explain to you how harmless and nice this woman is that she's being aggressive towards. There's literally unprompted, it's just aggressive to be aggressive, and it's kind of funny. But then Roxy shows up, and she clearly looks like a victim of terrible shit, and she's going, he killed them. And blonde girl goes, actually, I hate Roxy, and I think Roxy's a psycho, and we should just kill her now. And I'm like, come again? Surely you don't mean that, right? Do you see her? She looks like she was held captive, and she's like terrified. What the fuck? Anyway, I guess to like give the blonde girl some form of credit, she ends up being kind of correct. Where Roxy is the killer, kind of, maybe. So the plot is that in room 33, that's where they did tests on like their more aggressive patients, and they did their more aggressive tests or whatever. And Roxy's father was one of the doctors. And so I guess Roxy ended up being a little psycho herself, but in a way that makes sense because, look at her father, and she was most likely experimented on herself, abused in some way. The movie just fucking jumps the shark at some point where some random guy shows up. Like at the end of the movie, some random guy who is now important, who they think is the killer, the only sane normal girl from the car crash, talks to him, and he basically is like, Roxy is my little niece or cousin or something. I don't remember. And he kind of explains what's going on, and that she has like schizophrenia or multiple personality type thing. But it's also like weird ghost exorcist shit, kind of, where Roxy talks in like a guy's voice on occasion. And then we see that her other personality is her dead father, but her dead father is also actually just a ghost that shows up, and the ghost is the one that's actually been killing people. So as much as it doesn't make sense, and it's a mess, and it's just kind of the same bad DID fucking evil thing going on, I at least give them some credit for being unique, because I have yet to see that where the other personality is just straight up a fucking ghost that kills people. And also, like, to be clear, it is not a haunting. She is not being haunted or possessed. It's not as simple as that, because she does have multiple personalities. Roxy is not the actual girl's name, or rather not like the original girl's name. Her original name is Rachel. That's what the guy that shows up randomly informs us. There are at least a couple of personalities inside of this girl, and her ghost murderer father just so happens to be one of them. But anyway, at the end of the movie, she kind of takes a leap of faith off of a building, and that ends things, I guess. And at the end of the movie, we see that the final girl, the car crash girl, is maybe now a little psycho herself. Like maybe it's passed on to her somehow. It's a mess of a movie, and I wouldn't say that it ever really is scary. I really only like two of the characters. The final girl is one of them. The coach is the other. At one point, the needlessly aggressive girl ends up bashing the head with a baseball bat of one of the other girls because she thought it was like the killer or something. Instead of like playing it off, she tries to hide the body from Chad, who comes out to like check on her, and she just gives him fellatio. This movie is just kind of fucking whatever, man. Genuinely, this movie is all over the place. We see the ghost dad killing people. Well, we kind of do. For some reason, he takes their eyes. Yeah, we see him killing people. It's never scary or suspenseful or tense at all. But like I said, the movie genuinely is just all over the place sometimes. It'll just do stuff for the sake of doing stuff. The pervert guy and I think Chad make the brilliant decision that they can go get the battery from the crashed car to fix the van, which is no longer running. The reason it's not running is because Chad left the lights on, even though Chad was not the one driving. So I don't know why he would be at fault here. Also, the van is just out of gas. So like even if they got the battery running, it's not like they'd be able to go anywhere. But they go back to the crashed car, which is, you know, like a walk trip down the road or whatever. And for some reason, a random guy shows up while they're there, and he sees like the dead body, because at some point a cop showed up and then Ghost Dad killed the cop, and he sees dead cop in the cop car and these two guys, and Chad found a shotgun. So this guy who shows up in this moment only in the movie, shoots and kills Chad. And then we're done with that scene. So it was kind of just to kill Chad. Pervert guy is still, he lives, by the way. He's one of the 2 survivors or 3 survivors of this movie. There was no point in that. That guy that showed up, that shot Chad, never shows up again. He's only there to shoot Chad. Definitely a mess of a movie, but I will say it is competently made to some degree. At the end of the day, I came out of it going, yeah, that wasn't a good movie, but it wasn't so bad that I wouldn't recommend it. Like, I would probably say, don't watch it, but like, if you want to, you can. I'm not gonna be like, no, stop, you don't know what you're getting into. If you go there, you can never come back. Like, no, it's just kind of, it just kind of exists. But yeah, it's time for the next movie.
That's Rebecca's. This maniac has been in my house.
John, I will find this guy.
All right, and now we have 213, also from 2009. I struggled to say that this is a horror movie, despite the fact that it's in like a bargain bin horror movie pack. This is more of a thriller. If you've ever watched a single detective investigates serial killer and gets a little too involved in the investigation type movie before, you've basically watched this movie already. But that being said, I actually kind of enjoyed watching this one. And I think the reason for that is just because this movie has an actual budget. It looks good. The acting is good. The plot, while generic and very predictable, is decent. It's enjoyable. The movie opens with a girl getting murdered, well, tortured before murder. And the first thing that you see is the killer takes a little like long spike, like needle type spike, and shoves it straight through her boobie. You know, I gotta give credit. I can't say I've ever seen that before. So immediately I was like, oh, weird for sure, but I appreciate it because I've never seen that before. The serial killer, I think they call him like the masked murderer. The thing is, he makes masks and he puts them on the victims. It's interesting because for a serial killer, he doesn't have much of like a pattern that he follows. Technically, he does because he's basically getting revenge on people that he knew, but like age, gender, those things don't really appear to matter to this guy. Eventually, you see that the serial killer is kind of targeting this one detective and like calling at him, which again is exactly what you would expect from a movie like this. Now, I will say that the gore and the effects and everything in this movie are pretty decent. They look pretty good. There are some pretty cool effects in this movie. They do this weird like hypnotherapy thing or whatever, where like they break an object and then they tell you to imagine it like reforming and that it's not broken, and you actually like see the object reforming, and it's pretty cool. I don't actually really know how they did that, but it looks good. And then I don't really know how to talk about this movie without fully spoiling it. So the serial killer ends up being Mark Pellegrino, who plays Lucifer in Supernatural. Number one, I was already like, well, this guy's the serial killer, but it's also like the most obvious twist in the world because he's pretty much the only other character that isn't a detective or cop in this movie. His wife was the first victim, and I go, it's him. Basically, it's really funny because this movie does not know how age works. And the reason that Mark Pellegrino is doing this is because he would make masks and stuff. And basically, eventually he ended up working at some hospital kind of, where he would make like prosthetic masks for people. And the detective's mother ended up getting in a car crash or accident that disfigured her face. And so he made the mask for the detective's mother, meaning this guy, the killer, was like 10 years at least older than the detective. So you're supposed to believe that Mark Pellegrino is older than Mark Thompson, who plays the detective. And here's a little side by side for you of what they look like. Yeah, no, it just doesn't work. Also, the detective has a retired police dog who is a German Shepherd. And at some point he says that he's 17. Hey, scriptwriters, I don't know how to tell you this. That dog would probably not be alive. And it's funny because I can tell in my brain that the scriptwriters were like, okay, so it's a retired dog. So what's old for a dog? Like 17, right? Yeah, for some breeds, like smaller breeds. For a German Shepherd, no. Yeah, also the dog doesn't look old at all. Like it doesn't even have gray at all. It's just a funny little thing that I noticed where I was like, yeah, this movie does not understand how like age works. But yeah, so basically when the detective as a wee little boy showed up to see his mom for the first time with her new prosthetic mask, he basically freaked out and was like, "You're not my mom, that's not my mom, the mask is ugly," or something. And this gravely offended the serial killer. So that's why he's doing this. Also because he had like a bit of a psychotic break when his wife was cheating on him, maybe. By the way, his wife isn't dead. He just like cut off her arm and chained her up in the same basement that he was chained up in, and like her face is all, I mean, it looks great, but it's not good for her. They also suggest that this guy has multiple personalities, so ha ha ha, wow, how original. I find it so funny that they do this because it's not like outright stated, but it's just kind of heavily implied. So at one point, the detective, who is like a profiler, figures out, I guess, that it's not just one guy that they're looking for, it's actually two. And then they don't ever talk about it once they discover that it's Mark Pellegrino, nor do they like talk about this two killer thing again. I was honestly kind of expecting them at some point to be like, oh, actually, the detective is also one of the killers, and that's the real twist. And they don't do that. It is just Mark Pellegrino. It's not even that triumphant of a thing. They just kind of have it for one scene where the detective is like, I think we're looking for 2 killers. Here's what I think one of them is like. Here's what I think the other is like. And then the movie never really touches on that again. And then when they have Mark Pellegrino in custody and they're kind of just fucking psychoanalyzing him, they're like hypnotizing him. They're doing weird shit. Like they found him with the chained up woman. He admitted to the murders. I don't know why they're doing this still. It's just kind of the detective fucking with him at this point, which is very funny, honestly. And you do kind of see that maybe Mark Pellegrino has 2 personalities. Like he kind of plays it like that, but it's never like confirmed. Also, I think the most hilarious part or aspect of this movie is that the detective has a woman detective who he has the hots for, and she has the hots for him. Again, there's probably a crazy age gap between them. And for whatever reason, he kind of backed out from that relationship, and now they're kind of like in a weird standpoint with each other. And, by the end of the movie, they are fully back together. And so Mark Pellegrino goes after her. They make this whole big moment out of like using the retired dog to help find them. And the detective saves the day right before Mark Pellegrino can kill her. And then and then the end of the movie, at the end of the interrogation, right before Mark Pellegrino dies, he goes, well, actually, I've had an ace up my sleeve the whole time. See, I poisoned your little girlfriend, and she's going to die. And she's on the other side of the interrogation window. And so the detective goes up to the window, puts his hand on it, and goes, I love you. And she puts her hand up to it and goes, I know, as we see like blood come out of her eye. This is like hours later from when she was initially poisoned. So like the timing could not be more perfect on Mark Pellegrino's end. Good job, buddy. But yeah, I find it funny that they do this whole thing to like be a triumphant moment where they save her and then she dies anyway. Also, would she not have noticed him injecting her with something? Would she not have gone to the hospital like as a, standard procedure type thing? What is any of this? And yeah, she dies there. And then the end of the movie is the detective at her fucking funeral. And for some reason, there are 2 caskets. And I think the reason is because at one point, his dead mother was dug up by Mark Pellegrino. So I think they're doing a dual casket burial with mother and girlfriend right next to each other. Same plot. What do you mean the detective just gets to bury his kind of girlfriend next to his mother? What about the girl's family? It was just very funny to me. It was hilarious, and I found it quite tickling. But yeah, this movie exists. This is the one that I think is the most competently made. The actors are actually good. There's a surprising amount of man ass in this movie. So if you like to see that, yeah, which I was surprised by, because again, the movie opened with like a woman getting her boob stabbed. But yeah, this movie's fine. Not a bad watch. But with that being said, it's time for the next movie.
In the once peaceful town of Carroll Stream, an evil has emerged. And for one man, the evil is closer than he thinks.
All right, and now we have Secrets of the Clown from 2007. And I saved this one for last because this one's really bad. This is by far the worst quality of movie in this video. It does not look good ever. The acting is not very good. The effects they're not terrible, or at least if they are, it's in a janky, funny way. But ultimately, this movie just ends up being kind of boring and also not good. Like, there are some decent moments, but overall, I don't love it. The idea is that there's a girl and her boyfriend or husband, and she has this weird fascination with a clown doll. And the movie kind of opens in this really funny way where she comes back home and then she like has a very quick vision of something, and she all of a sudden goes, I'm leaving. Well, actually, she doesn't even tell him. She just packs her things and goes to leave, and he finds her and he's like, well, what's going on? And she goes, I'm leaving, Mark, or whatever his name was. And it's really funny because as a viewer, you have absolutely no idea why she's leaving. This is the most sudden thing possible. But anyway, because she leaves, he gets all sad and he has his friend over, and they do some drinking. And I guess she left her little clown doll because the drunk friend is like, oh, this stupid fucking clown that she's obsessed with. And he beats it with like a bottle basically and like partially breaks it or something. And then he goes outside and then he gets murdered. So it's a mess and nothing is really good. She continues to be weird throughout the entire movie and he continues to be like sad about things. And then we get introduced to like his entire group of friends, which, to give this movie credit, this is man in his 30s with his group of guys, and it is like the most realistic shit I've ever seen. But then like one of the guys gets murdered while they're at the cemetery for the other guy that died, and they make this promise that they're gonna find who did this. So they basically are like, well, we should talk to a psychic. Meanwhile, the girl is continuing to be weird about things, and when the boyfriend tells her that he's going to have a psychic come over to their house, she's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be involved in that, so I'm just gonna head out, really. Yeah. And so the psychic shows up, more people get injured and or attacked and or killed, and we get this whole thing where like the girl like has a vision of something again, and she's like, I need to make it back there right now. So she has to try and make it back, but her car breaks down. So she gets picked up by some woman, and this woman is like, I don't know, it's like a weird Jesus ad, I guess. And then for whatever reason, she leaves that woman behind at the gas station to run back home. She kind of gets there, and then like two random guys that like see her across the road are like, oh, check out the ass on that one, and then follow her creepily. And then when they see the clown show up to try and attack her, they try to defend her and then die. So yeah, I guess the clown, right? It's in the name of the movie, so obviously the clown is important. No, you don't really see the clown until the end. And to give this movie credit, the clown is the most fun that I have with this movie. It's just some big buff guy painted white and with like a clown face prosthetic on, and he has glowing eyes, but the eyes are just like images that are tracked onto his face in post. And it's not tracked well. Like you see it like, you know, kind of lagging behind at times. But I think that's really funny. The weird thing about it though is that the reveal is that the girlfriend is a witch and her little clown doll is like a protective charm kind of. And the psychic that shows up was actually the witch that taught her all the ways and is evil and trying to kill people because she left him behind because she didn't want to kill her boyfriend. So now he's like looking for this doll thing because he wants to kill people with his clown, which is like a demon kind of. So it's kind of a demon clown that's being used by a witch. It's a very messy thing and it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, then I think pretty much everyone else dies, but the girlfriend, the boyfriend, and the witch guy. She's basically like, I'm so sorry, I never wanted to kill you. And he's like, it's okay. All of my friends are dead. You literally got all of my friends killed, but I love you. And I don't know, I guess they defeat the witch guy. I don't know what she does, but like something rips off the clown's face and it's like a weird thing underneath. I don't know. And I don't even remember how the movie ends because it didn't frankly matter to me at all. But for some reason, it ends with the guy in the hospital waking up and people are acting weird. And the nurse is basically a hot nurse and she's like seducing him and she like takes her top off. And this is the second time we just see a woman with tits out. The other time is the opening of the movie where for some reason the neighbors get murdered by the clown. Again, we don't actually see the clown. We just see like his arm or something, and she's just like fully tits out in the dark in her own house, which is fine, of course, but again, gratuitous nudity for the movie. And I find it really funny because she puts on like an oversized like button-up shirt and she specifically wears it in a way where her tits are still out and like it's not covering anything. So I'm like, literally, what was the point? Yeah, this movie is really ugly. I've said that before, but it also sounds bad because all of the dialogue, every little bit of it is ADR. I think what they did is they recorded it and didn't care about the sound quality when they were recording it. So they had all of the people dub over their original lines. So it just has this like really off feel to it, and it's hard to watch. It's not very good. If you get enjoyment out of watching like really bad movies, like movies that are really poorly made with like maybe some fun things here and there, I think you might enjoy this. I personally didn't because it's not only hard to watch and listen to, it's also just kind of boring. I don't care about any of the characters. They're not really funny to me. They're just kind of fucking generic people. Also, there's like, they have one friend whose name is Louis and he's a fat guy, and the whole joke is that he's stupid. So color me crazy for not finding that enjoyable or funny, but I did like Louis, and I didn't like them for bullying him all the time. I really don't have anything to say. This is just, I think it's time for me to rank these movies. All right, so there's only 3 movies to rank, which is helpful for me and also quite easy for me to do. If you've been paying attention, you'll probably already know the ranking. In 3rd place, I have Secrets of the Clown. It's not a good movie. It sounds and looks really bad. The acting's at best fine. Everything about it is just kind of not good, except for the clown. I did enjoy the clown, but I wish that in a movie titled Secrets of the Clown, it was a little more clown-centric and less whatever the fuck witchcraft stuff they decided to go with. In 2nd place, I'm going to put Room 33. This movie's like passable. Again, it doesn't look very good, but it looks better than Secrets of the Clown. I don't hate it. There are some fun moments here and there. I like a couple of the characters, which is an improvement, despite it not really being scary or effective as a horror movie and kind of a little generic. I think it's fine. And then in 1st place, I have 213, which is unfortunate because that means that the only movie that isn't like really strictly horror and is more of like a thriller is number 1. But I can't help it because this is an actually well-made movie with good actors, a fine plot. It looks good. The cinematography is good. The effects are good. Nothing about this movie was really bad. It was just kind of generic at times. This is one that, you know, if you're bored, you have nothing else to watch, might as well. You'll probably have a decent time with it at the very least. So yeah, that's my ranking. I hope you enjoyed this video looking at some bargain bin horror movie packs with me. I want to make this a continuing series where I continue to look at more. I have more packs, I have more movies to watch, and even if you don't like it, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep doing it. But if you did like it, please like and subscribe because it means a lot to me, and I love having you here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!